We continue to, on Power Lunch, to follow those cyber casino attacks, cyber attacks on casinos at MGMs and Caesars. They've both been hit by ransomware, leading to massive system outages for MGM and a reported $15 million ransomware payout from Caesars. Our next guest says of all the industries he's worked with, casinos have some of the worst cybersecurity he's seen. He thinks that years of neglect are coming back to bite them. Let's welcome in our friend David Kennedy, TrustedSec CEO and Chief Hacking Officer. One of the best titles I can think of. Some of the worst security you've ever seen. Why? Why have they let it get this bad, given the amount of cash that they're handling?
Yeah, thanks, Tyler and Kelly. Thanks for having me on. It's interesting, the casinos, you think Ocean's 11, massive physical security, all of the state-of-the-art facial recognition systems to protect all of this money. But they really consider themselves more in the hospitality business. While they protect money, cyber networks, things like that have really gone neglected over the years. And they really have kind of the antiquated times of thinking of it from a physical security perspective, not cyber infrastructure. I mean, we test some of the largest casinos out there. We test some of the largest, companies from, critical infrastructure all the way to education to, technology. Casinos are some of the worst that we've ever seen out there. And it's more expensive for them to fix the network issues than it is for them to actually go and address the security issues because they don't want any hindrance to their casino operation.
They don't want any kind of interruption. So you've got MGM, you've got Caesars. Are others likely to be hit as well?
They're on notice. All casinos right now are on notice from this group as well as other groups. Ransomware groups, when they have success, they smell blood and they start going after the same industry verticals. So if you're a casino right now, you're a target by far. This group, LV, really good at social engineering. It took them less than 10 minutes of finding somebody online on LinkedIn and then calling the help desk up, social engineering them, and then getting full access to their entire infrastructure. I mean, that's an insane statistic if you think about, how big these corporations and organizations are. An entire downfall by one employee and a hacker group, loosely attributed out of Russia. It's not a good set of odds for these folks in these casinos right now. The odds are not in their favor.
Wait, that's an incredible story, Dave. So, and I had heard a prior breach was caused by a fish tank that was connected to a casino or a hotel network. But what you're talking about is something very different. What is social engineering? So you're saying that the hackers used LinkedIn to get an employee's information, called them on the phone, and were able to do what?
So what a lot of hackers will do is do what's called open source intelligence gathering, where they'll use information on LinkedIn, your credentials. Maybe I'm an employee that works at a certain location and I forgot my password. They were able to find an employee of MGM and then call the help desk to essentially reset their password, saying, I'm this employee, I can't log in. And they use the technology called Okta to allow them to authenticate and log into the systems. And then from there, they start spreading across what we call lateral movement to start taking over more and more systems. And that's the damaging part, right? When an attacker gets access to one system, they start spreading like wildfire throughout all of the rest of the organization. And then from there, you start seeing these catastrophic breaches, especially if they go undetected for large periods of time. So, absolutely devastating for MGM, devastating for Caesars. Caesars may be the largest ransomware payout that we've ever seen in history, $50 million. This is a $1 billion industry now for these ransomware groups, and they're not shutting down anytime soon. And again, casinos are right for the picking.
As you look at ransomware hits across all industries this year, how are they running? Is this the worst year ever for them?
It was interesting when the Ukrainian conflict with Russia, when Russia invaded Ukraine, kicked off. We saw a big dip in ransomware. It was actually really quiet. Very strange. But as of Q2 and Q3 and then now into Q4, we're seeing such an elevated rate of ransomware group takeovers, especially in the private sector, that this is by far the largest year and the most amount of payouts that we've ever seen organizations take. They're just not focusing on disaster recovery, business continuity, things that we know work against these to recover from them. But also one thing to note is that they don't just take your systems down, they also steal your data, whether it's user information, personal data, intellectual property. They hit you on every different front they possibly can.
Very quickly, do most of the victims of these ransomware requests, whether they're health systems or commercial businesses like Caesars, do they usually pay up?
Over 85% of the customers that we worked with pay the ransom. And it's devastating for them because they literally can't recover their business. Doesn't look like MGM's going to pay. Caesars did. But I mean, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, they are going to be paying the ransom. They're going to be paying these ransomware groups to continue to increase their sophistication. And we're going to continue to see these breaches occur.
Dave Kennedy, TrustedSec CEO, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate it.